Take me to mod or lose me forever. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about 5 mods that you may be modding poorly, folks. People have been asking me a lot lately, what do characters need that isn't just speed? I mean, most characters, honestly, are way more nuanced than just have to be fast. Speed actually has very limited applications, despite the fact that we all need a certain amount of it to be able to keep up a little bit. But I'm going to show you a few kits that are a little bit more complex and they'll benefit from speed, but the focus isn't going to be on speed. It's going to be on the other stats that are more important. Apparently they have no need for speed. Well, they do, but not as much perhaps. Before any of that though, I want to shout out to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate you. You are, all of you, legends. Probably. One of you probably isn't, but you know who you are. Right, let's jump into it. Shall we, folks? Let's do it to it. It's gonna be epic. Whoa, we're in the game. How'd we get in the game? This is crazy. Wow. It's been a while since I've done that. Alright, so here's the thing, folks. Jolie. Yeah, sure, he wants some speed. And mine is not fast enough, frankly. Just not really, but here's the thing. He has a few different things going on for him. Typically his team is going to be either with Jedi Revan or with Jedi Master Luke. And what he's doing right now, so obviously he revives all of his guys. You want him to survive, you want him to be really tanky. And most people say, oh, well, we should just make him really healthy because he's got this cool thing and it's unique that says 30% max health. And hey, that's pretty good. And he grants allies protection up equal to his max health. So they're like, hey, we would just want to have a whole lot of maximum health. And I mean, that's not bad. You want to take advantage of that. That's certainly the thing. However, people miss out on something that's pretty important as well, and that is this unique here. This is Jolie has 100% tenacity, or plus 100% tenacity, so that's nice on its own because you don't want him to be debuffed either. You want him to be not ability blocked so he can just revive people whenever you need. And then he's immune to turn meter reduction of effects. That's cool. The biggest thing though is, in addition, at the start of battle, he gains bonus crit avoid equal to half his tenacity. So it's 100% tenacity. So you want the crit avoid, guys. You don't want him to get crit, because then you can take advantage of his huge health pool. And he won't be crit, typically. I mean, advantage is still going to crit you, for instance, but you're going to be able to avoid it if you can meet him there, because here's the other piece of it, folks. On his relic levels, like mine is only 5, I should really probably look at getting him up to 7 or something. He's important enough sometimes, but none of this really matters. I mean, like, the health is kind of nice or whatever, but the big thing here, guys, is crit avoid is part of his relic levels. So he's got 7.5% on that already, even at relic 5. If you get him up to 6, he's at 10%. So you want a mix of health and tenacity, and as you continue to level him up and put more relics on him, the fewer tenacity set mods you have to put on him. So I used to have all 6 of them as tenacity. Now what I have is a cross with tenacity and then one set of tenacity, which adds up to be 55%. So his total tenacity in this instance, folks, is 194%, because remember, he gains that 100% on top of that. So if we just round it up to 200, because I want to do lazy math right now, he's going to gain 100%. So he's at 200% tenacity. He's going to gain 100% crit avoid. And, on top of that, you also, I like to put the arrow on him as well, just to make sure that if there's any overflow, if people have an extra amount of crit chance, then we're able to just block it right there. And that's basically it, folks. You just want to give him a lot of crit avoid. Everything else can be health, lots of health, And note that I don't have him the fastest or the best modded. Like I just have limited mods. Everyone does, except for a few people. And those are the things that matter to him, though, like extra health, secondaries if you can, some speed is always nice, because mine is gonna get lapped by a lot of different characters, and that's not a great feeling. But yeah, he's lots of health and lots of tenacity, folks. That's it for Jolie. And crit avoid as well. Those are the things that make him, well, decent at least. Mothma is another one who is actually very stats hungry, despite the fact that she doesn't attack anyone. Here's the thing about her. You don't want her to get ability blocked. If you do, or if she does, that can be bad. It's even worse, though, if she gets dazed. And here's why, folks. So she's constantly, is it a unique that she's always, maybe it's her lead. I don't remember. So she's with a bunch of rebel allies, rebel fighter allies, and she's always constantly assisting. Here, let me find the actual clause. Oh, yeah, you guys saw it before I did, I'm sure. Mothma and rebel fighter allies have a 100% chance to assist each other whenever they use an ability during their turn. So when she assists, you want her to be assisting, because this assist, she's always dispelling debuff on the weakest rebel ally. And the way it works is she doesn't just dispel on the weakest. If the weakest doesn't have any debuffs, then she dispels on the next weakest, and she's also healing her team and everything, and she's really what makes this team go. And so you want a lot of tenacity on her. The other big piece of it, folks, is especially I used to use this team to take out like General Grievous squads. It's kind of weird how Kyle Katarn has shifted this team away from that, but you still want to avoid a lot of those debuffs, because that's kind of the death knell on this team. The big thing here, though, is all of them are sharing their stats. So they're sharing max health, protection, offense, defense, potency, and tenacity. And so you want all the stats that you can get. I mean, Relic 7, I was so glad when we had a Datacron that kind of quote-unquote forced me to get her to 7, because those extra stats are really nice. The thing is, she wants to be fast, but she's not fast on her own. I think she gets, from her unique, she gets plus 50 speed, which is annoying, but, I mean, that's kind of like, they just didn't want her to be fast enough for the mods to impact that. So 50%, that's 5 extra speed that's taken away from having a speed set. So she's very, speed set isn't that great on her, frankly. If you have better mods, you can. So I have her at 312, something like that. And the health and protection are nice. The other piece of it, guys, so the tenacity, she has 163. If you load the rest of her team up with a decent amount of tenacity, they're all going to end up with somewhere between 160 and 200% tenacity. And I have a Faction Essentials video talking about that more, so you guys can go look at that. But the other thing is, if you can add more potency, that's really nice too, because there's a couple really nice effects that you can get. Pow has his defense down debuff with his AoE, which you don't really want to use all that often, but sometimes it's really, really nice to have. And the other one that I really get a lot of use out of is Kyle Katarn uses his basic a lot on his own turn to be able to ability block people. And so if they're all sharing their stats, having a lot of potency on the team is pretty nice to be able to get those debuffs off. So with Mothma, she's over 200% tenacity with all the sharing and everything. And yeah, typically you want her to be the second fastest on the team, because Kyle Katarn is almost always going to be faster. So having her go second or third or whatever is pretty nice to get to summon Worthless Guy, and then just be able to, be reactive as things go along. Ayla Secura is a strange one. So everyone knows that she stuns doing her special, or so people are like, oh yeah, she uses her basic. A lot of people realize that she's just constantly stunning people, but it's not in her. It's not in her abilities here. She calls assists, she does all this cool stuff, whatever. She's kind of an older kit and stuff. But the thing about Ayla Secura, despite beyond being just blue, and that's interesting for other reasons, but she's also she's got counter chance, she's got crit chance, all this stuff. She stuns her target for 1 turn, and here's the thing that everyone misses, everyone just forgets about. Whenever she critically hits, she has to crit whoever she's hitting. So she gives herself 10% crit chance, which is okay, I guess. The counter damage, all that stuff, who cares? Like, she's pretty tough to do. I mean, she's not really a damage dealer. She's like a control character. I mean, they even acknowledge that in the fact that she's a support. I guess I'm pointing at it. You guys can't see it because my face is in the way. But here's the thing, guys. You want her to have crit chance and potency. You want to be able to stun. It requires a potency check, and it requires a crit check as well. If it doesn't crit, then it can't even proc at all. So I have her potency pretty dang high, and I have her crit chance also pretty high. I don't have any extra damage on her because who cares? Like, she hits like a wet noodle regardless, almost. Like, her whole thing is to facilitate. She even calls people to assist. She does a lot of cool stuff, but she's there for control. Like, you call her to assist. One of my favorite things used to be taking her with Jedi Master Luke, and then you could just, like when she had a cool Datacron, she was able to just stun lock an entire team, just because everyone would call her to assist, and she'd just be able to do that. So, I mean, in terms of what things I have, and obviously I have like 2nd grade mods on her because I don't really use her that much, but you want health, you want a crit chance set if you can, and then potency on top of that. So, and then potency if you can in the secondaries as well, or crit chance in the secondaries, potency, cross, crit chance triangle with 6E if you can, and then this has potency on it as well. Of course, speed is nice, but I mean, I don't even have a 6E arrow on hers. She has a crit chance on here. Cool, good for you, I guess. But that's her thing. Like, you have to realize, folks, that if you don't crit, then you can't do it. So like, for instance, if you're trying to hit, like for instance, Jango, if Jango is with Separatists, for instance, Jango is going to start with damage immunity. You can't crit someone who has damage immunity, and therefore she cannot stun lock him. Other people can stun him for other reasons, but she can't because she can't crit. In addition, I mean, if someone has, some way to avoid being crit, then she's not going to be able to. And like we were just covering with Jolie, I don't think she's going to stun my Jolie very often unless she has, some potency up, or crit chance up, something else on top of that. But just idle speculation. She's an interesting character. I kind of wish she'd get a buff. I don't know if she ever will, because she's just on the edge of like kind of useful, and then I barely use her. Alright, I think the final one here, folks, is this the last one? Maybe we have one more. We have one more after this. We have Dengar here, and he's actually very similar to Ayla in the sense, like, I barely use him. You can see I have pretty garbage mods on him, frankly. But here's the thing, folks. So all of these characters want speed, as per usual, but here's the thing. He has a few different really useful abilities here, folks. So, gosh. Okay, so, I mean, he's survivable and all of that. There is that. He gains tenacity up. Well, he's always like the last guy to die because he puts stealth on himself. You don't really have to worry about making him tankier. Like, making him tankier is nice, but the big thing here, folks, is getting utility out of the things he does well. And, I throw him on defense in 3v3 sometimes with, like, Bosk, because, you just want to time people out. You probably should put more relics on him if you want to do that, but I'm foolish. So, you can sometimes stun. Keep in mind that they have to have their turn meter 50% or higher to be able to stun them. But the big part, guys, the huge part of his kit is right here. So it always does. So he throws thermals, and it does damage to all enemies, and then it hits 2 enemies at random times. So it's kind of nice. You could put him with, for instance, like Bando, and with the whistling birds. If you're fighting someone and you do an AoE, normally an AoE is only going to do like 1 instance of damage per character, and this one in 3v3 it'll do 1 instance of damage to all characters, and then 2 bonus ones, so it'll hit 5 times and it'll do 5 instances of damage for it, which is nice in 3v3, or, you know, in 5v5, it does 7 instances of damage. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons you want to take him with Bando sometimes, at least, and, or Bam, as the younger generation calls him. But here's the thing, guys. So, inflict a negative status effect on all enemies that suffer a critical hit. You need to crit people. Once again, very similar to Ayla. Once you crit them, if you do crit these characters, if you crit them, then they get tenacity down, and which is really nice. And then, you know, you can get damage over, you can get dots on them, which is whatever. And you can also turn meter reduce if you get 3 hits on one character, which, I mean, that at that point, that's pretty lucky. You can't really count on that. But the big thing is, you can also, I mean, you apply the thermals and all of that. You can put himself into stealth if he does this, if you get enough crits. But then, yeah, the tenacity down. Oh, well, and here, I'm being foolish here. So, the effects inflicted depend on the number of crit hits scored. Hold on for 1 second. Yeah, as written, I think you just have to assume that you're only going to end up doing you're only going to be doing crit damage or tenacity down on people, because as it's written, you're only doing it's on a per case basis, as far as I know. If anyone knows different, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure, though, that it's on a per case basis, which means that you can't count on getting 3 crits on them. It's not just like 3 crits total. You have to do 3 crits on that individual character. So everyone gets hit once, and then everyone else, some other characters might get hit more than once. Anyways, he wants to have crit chance, and then you want potency. So you have tenacity down, but you also want to be able to inflict these debuffs sometimes, even if there isn't tenacity down. You can't just count on tenacity down. And so, you want the potency, you want the crit chance. You can see I don't have him modded as well as Ayla, because I use him even less than Ayla probably, but he is a character. You want some potency, you want crit chance on him, and at Relic 5, let's see, so I don't have him at fast speed or anything, but yeah, so I have his crit chance at 90%. Probably could stand to be higher than that, but that's, you know, it is what it is, folks. And then his potency is at right around 100% as well. And that's it for Dengar. I mean, poor guy. I love that he just, like, comes pre-bandaged. He's just expecting someone to just clout him in the head. He's like, I know I'm an annoying a-hole. Like, of course people are going to hit me. So, Mace is the final one, folks, and he's a pretty loaded one, because he's got a lot going on, folks. One of my favorite characters in the game right now. He's got so much utility, folks, and man, his rework was really interesting. I'm very impressed with how they did that. I love, he's been on my list to get to Relic 8 or even to 9, because he's a tank. He could really get a big boost. Here's the thing, folks, he doesn't just want to do, like, to be a tank. Like, he has his tank ability, which is a little different than his other ones. Was it the Vapid, or since I don't remember, guys. He's he's got the cool Shatter Point. He's got the thing that just gets rid of stealth, which there's so much utility in that, guys. People don't use him enough to realize, like, that the stealth dispel is just so amazing, especially combined with Shatter Point, which lets you target people who are outside of taunting. It's very, very, very nice. But here's the thing, folks. He has one of my favorite abilities, and which is an ability block on basic. He's got a lot of cool stuff. Like, he's messing with turn meter and all of that stuff. That's cool. You can call someone to assist. He can dispel them. All of this stuff, folks. He actually does a credible amount of damage as well. So he's a tank, so you want to be able to take hits. He's a Galactic Republic tank, so he probably wants health more than all the other ones. But then you probably also, I mean, definitely want to be able to stick those hits on the you want to put ability block on people is what you want to do, folks. You want to make them not be able to use their abilities, and so you want potency. You want to be able to hit hard, you want to be survivable, and you want potency, which is like, man, I wish I could put him at Relic 8 or even 9, because he's a tank and he needs to survive, but he needs all these other external stats as well. And I mean, so the offense he'll get through relics, he's not going to get potency through relics, though, and that's why all these characters have the extra potency. potency. If you really want them to have higher stats with health and protection and stuff, you can put more relics on them. It's just like speed. Like, that's why people focus on speed, is you can get them through relics. The second we can start putting speed on through relics, well, people still want more speed to outspeed their opponents. But, you know, so I have him with potency. I have him at 100% potency or higher. And then, otherwise, well, he's kind of weird. Like, you just want to put him on with offense. I mean, well, so some health is also nice with offense secondaries. You want to keep him, you know, a little bit fast as well. Even though he's manipulating turn meter and stuff with some of his abilities, but you want to have an offense set with health on him on these other ones. And yeah, gosh, I have a lot of speed on him actually. Well, what's he ending up at? Yeah, he's not even at 300 speed, even with all this extra speed. But yeah, you want potency, you want offense set with a bunch of extra health, and then some speed as well, because he's just not a fast dude. Probably not mentally either. Otherwise, maybe he'd have figured out Darth Sidious a little bit earlier, but I mean, he paid the price for his lack of vision. And so I guess we can't really be too harsh. Well, we probably should. Anyways, folks, let me know in the comments whether you think it's more Mace's fault or Yoda's fault that the Jedi got destroyed by Sidious. I'd be curious to know. He really benefits from a lot of mods, folks, because he just, from really good modding, I should say, because he really wants all the health he can get. Because of his tankingness. He wants all the speed he can get. He wants all the potency he can get. And, I mean, everything, folks. So, the crit chance is kind of weird because he doesn't, like, so he's got crit chance on physical, and then he's also got, crit chance on special, and he's one of the few characters who has split damage. So he does special damage here. Maybe, does he just do special now? He used to do split damage. Never mind. I'm just being foolish, guys. Wasting your time. I apologize. I'm going to let you go. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do I have it wrong? I'd be curious to know how you mod them. Put more speed on them than mine, perhaps. But one way or another, folks, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.